Why, Sega? Why? Why? So, beautiful humans, I'm RidersDX, and I have a bone to pick with Sega right now. This is concerning Sonic Frontiers, that big old Sonic game that's been causing like the biggest roller coaster I've seen in like my life, besides like the one 2 years ago with Team Sonic Racing, and the one before that with Sonic Forces, and the list just goes on and on. But with Sonic Frontiers, this latest news bit that we've seen has me just really disappointed with the game. And it's just caused me to just look at what Sega is really doing, to be honest, because this is a very reoccurring pattern within Sega at this point that I thought we were behind, just based off what they were saying with wanting this to be like a brand new experience. But nonetheless, they're going back to their old habits, and I'm just really tired of seeing it, unfortunately. And so let's just kind of dive into it, talk about our thoughts about it, and maybe see if I'm overreacting or if this is a trend that I really just want to see squash with Sonic in the future. But to put things into perspective, I was a little bit iffy about Sonic Frontiers at first. I mean, the gameplay that was shown definitely wasn't the most impressive showcase they could have shown, but nonetheless, it did show a lot of potential. And as I kept seeing more gameplay and more screenshots and seeing more hands-on impressions from different publishers and such, it definitely looked like the game actually had a lot of good things going for it, and that it might be something to actually be excited about as a Sonic fan, and also just like as a general fan of open world games in general. And so Sonic Frontiers definitely seemed like it had a lot of good things going for it, and it's basically in a pretty good spot right now in terms of most people's minds, because a lot of that previous coverage of the game that seemed very awkward and just very like against the nature of the game has seemingly died away now, because as we've seen more gameplay, we've seen that the mechanics of the game do have more depth to them, and it definitely seems like there's more to this game than meets the eye, and people are just looking forward to it. But one thing I was immediately curious about, despite seeing all this footage and such, were the cyberspace levels. And so these are levels within the game that basically bite-sized levels that act like Unleashed/Generation modern Sonic levels, which is something that's been praised heavily in Sonic games in the past. I mean, that's why Generations is touted as like one of the best Sonic games of all time, just because they really aced that modern Sonic formula in that game in particular. So when it was revealed there were going to be cyberspace levels that are similar to these levels, people were definitely excited about it. And yeah, it just seemed like if you're not really into the open world formula this game is going for, there's still something in this game for you in case you were a fan of like the previous Sonic Boost games. There was some speculation, however, that these levels were reusing assets from Generations, as there are some screenshots from the Summer Games Fest that took pictures of the cyberspace levels that looked eerily similar to Green Hill Zone and Sky Sanctuary. But there were some people that also argue that like these may not be the exact same levels. Like I remember seeing this Sonic Stadium tweet in particular that said that there were like green rocks in the Green Hill like level, and so there was a lot of speculation that maybe these were like different levels that just seemed stylized very similarly to previous levels. And well, we did get some more clips and screenshots of these levels from Summer Games Fest, and we have one clip that seems very clear, like something that wasn't recorded on a potato, thankfully. And well, watching this clip, you really can't argue any other way anymore, because this clip makes it clear as day that these levels are reusing assets. As you can see here that this is clearly Sky Sanctuary, and you can even spot the Death Egg in there, and so that's just a big giveaway that this is Sky Sanctuary, and well, they are reusing assets from previous games. And so what are my thoughts on this?
A comedian, huh?
I am pretty disappointed by this, to say the least. A game that's supposed to be one of the franchise's biggest titles in years couldn't even get fully original levels made for it, a luxury that even spin-offs like Rivals 2 and Sonic and the Black Knight were afforded in the past. So it's not like this will have a huge impact on the game's quality, but the principle of this thing is what I'm really upset about, because basically Sega has been reusing content for Sonic games for like almost a decade at this point. I mean, ever since Sonic Generations, Sega has been very huge on like nostalgia pandering and giving us a lot of like classic Sonic back, which is fine, because there's definitely a good subset of fan base that likes that content and that should get that content, and as long as people want to pay for it, then I don't see why Sega shouldn't make those games. And so I'm not against like nostalgia pandering at all. in the sense that I think projects that are meant for it, like Sonic Mania for instance, definitely should have like those callbacks to old levels and such, and really kind of give people that dose of nostalgia that everyone loves every once in a while. But Sonic Frontiers is not the game for that. Sonic Frontiers is being touted as a brand new adventure, cutting edge for Sonic. This is the first time that Sonic is not in a linear level to level structure in a 3D game. This is the first time Sonic is in a game where he can kind of run and go as he pleases and just kind of explore things at his own pace. And Sonic Frontiers is a brand new adventure, and it is not supposed to be a callback to previous games. But nonetheless, there are cyberspace levels here that take assets directly from previous games, and hopefully the level design is good at least, because you know these levels definitely won't look brand new at all. So it's just kind of disappointing to me, because this seems less like, oh, we love these levels and we want to implement them because it makes sense for this game kind of thing, and it seems more so like a strategy that they're utilizing because maybe Sonic Team is crunching. I mean, we did have that comment from Iizuka not too far long ago that basically said Sonic Team is working all the way till nights, you know, trying to make sure this game is perfect in time for release. So who knows, maybe they are actually like literally crunching at the studio right now, and they just didn't have time to make these cyberspace levels be as unique and original as they could have been. You know, they really do seem like a second thought to this game, which I guess does make sense because the game's main focus is the open zone formula. And so I guess cyberspace levels are just something that they probably just like left to the very end, or just kind of left to the side, because you know they spent so much time trying to perfect the open zone formula that there was just little to no time left over for these cyberspace levels. But to have completely reused assets from levels that have been used consistently and constantly in previous Sonic games, I mean, we had Sky Sanctuary in like Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing for instance, and various other Sonic games that appeared in. And don't even get me started on Green Hill Zone, because I really just want to see that zone die in a pit at this point. So honestly, it's just really tiring to see these levels come back over and over again. Like the least that Sega could do is at least mix it up a little bit, like maybe give us like a City Escape cyberspace level or a Speed Highway cyberspace level. At least we would be seeing different assets being used here. But nope, it's Green Hill Zone, it's Sky Sanctuary Zone. I'm betting you there's gonna be Chemical Plant Zone in there as well, and it's just really annoying at this point, because I want some original new locations. I want Sonic Frontiers to be this completely new and original adventure that really just look like those high budget Sonic games that I used to love as a kid. I remember when I was a kid and my first Sonic game was Sonic Heroes, and every Sonic game afterwards looked like it had a big budget put into it. I mean, Sonic 06, I mean, it was a hot mess, but it at least looked like a game that had a lot of work put into it. Sonic Unleashed, that game was just so big and just had such a worldly feel to it. Sonic Colors, all the original levels and all the wacky designs that it had, and just even all the spin-offs around the era had original levels too. And it's just, that's something that I definitely took for granted, because now we have Sonic Frontiers, the first brand new mainline Sonic game in 5 years that's supposed to be this completely brand new take on Sonic, and we still see Green Hill Zone, we still see Sky Sanctuary Zone, and it's just a principle that I'm not big on anymore. I think that at this point this is totally being used as a way to work with crunch time and just be able to make these levels like really quickly without having to create a lot of new assets and such. And it's just, I just think Sonic deserves more. Sonic really does deserve a lot more than this. I mean, he's got like this really successful movie franchise going on for him. He's gonna have multiple TV shows that are gonna be really successful as well. He's got a great comic book series. He's got a huge fan base that's willing to support pretty much anything he puts out. Why aren't the video games getting this same kind of treatment? I mean, it's just frustrating, honestly, you know, to see content consistently being reused like this within Sega in places that don't make sense. It's just, I'm just not happy about it. I just think that Sonic deserves way more than this, and it is what it is. At the end of the day, this is not going to have a huge impact on the game itself, as long as the level designs are original and they're still fun to play. I mean, we've heard good things about the cyberspace levels from pretty much all the publications, and so as long as these levels are good and fun, this is totally something I can get over. But nonetheless, the whole principle of Sega reusing assets for a brand new game like this that's supposed to like be this huge new step for Sonic, it doesn't make sense here. It does not make sense for these levels to be here unless there's like a story reason that these levels are being seen here, which, you know, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. But the least that I hope Sega can do is at least throw in some cyberspace levels that are different, you know? If you want to reuse like old level themes at least, then that's totally fine, but just imagine seeing like Grand Metropolis made in this style, for instance, or I don't know, Eggman's Pyramid Base from Sonic Adventure 2 being made in this, or maybe like a Space Colony Arc level. level. Just if you're going to go back and reuse level assets, at least throw in some new levels in there as well from the previous games that would kind of give people like, oh, I always wanted Sonic Generations 2, so I guess this is it. So if you're going to do that, then at least give us some new content with it. Like, please don't let all these levels just be reused assets from Unleashed, Generations, and Forces in colors. Like, that would just be really disappointing, and I really just hope that there's some more original content. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe the cyberspace levels don't even take up a large portion of the game. Maybe they'll just be like 25 to 30% of the game, and most of the game, which is the open zone areas, will be brand new environments. And so at least most of the game will be brand new. But just, yeah, it's just a shortcut that Sega is taking, and we'll just have to live with it. But hopefully the gameplay is fun at least, and hopefully I will just live with it, because as long as Sonic Frontiers is fun and stuff, then I guess it's okay. But still, please Sega, please try to, you know, put in some more into your Sonic games besides this. I mean, it's great that we're getting this like fully brand new Sonic Adventure with an open zone formula, but yeesh, you couldn't give the developers at least like some new assets to work with? We really have to see Green Hill Zone for like who knows how many times at this point. It's just, yeah, it's not fun. But anyway, y'all, thank you so much. If you want to find out why I think the marketing for Sonic Frontiers has actually been very good, then check it out in the top left corner over here. Special shout out to my patrons, Team Route Sonic Gamer, Trash Q, and Claw84. Thank you so much for your support, and just yeah, this is Riders, riding out.